What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fantastic Thursday morning? We're going to check things out here on the quick. Bitcoin still, yesterday was an inside day, didn't do anything. So basically, all we've got this week is a big fat down day on Monday, a massive continuation day on Tuesday, breaking below the 4-month range. But now, well, not at this very second, but when you're above 103,435, you're back in that range. So it's going to be very important from here what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin continues to put in down closing days and downside continuation, then obviously you have a legit breakdown of a multi-month range. This could have really bad consequences for Bitcoin. However, with that being said, if it gets back up in the range and we have a few other things that change a little bit, we will get into those things today, then we could literally see Bitcoin stuck in the same range that it has been stuck in for 5 months. It's getting ridiculous. So we'll see what it does today. Obviously, the major level to watch today will be yesterday's high. That is my opinion. Excuse me. Obviously, we'll see what happens. That's going to be 104,550. You could potentially look for shorts here if you think Bitcoin is done and it's going to zero and you're in the bear camp and the world is just it's all going to crap, right? If you're in that camp, you could potentially look for shorts here. I think the better trade would be up here. If you get a rejection up here, this, in my opinion, would be the better place for the short. However, if we are going to see downside continuation and it's going to start today and the rest of the week is going to be aggressive to the downside, then you probably don't want to miss the opportunity here. It doesn't have to go up there. I'm just assuming that would be what I would want to see. But it could stall out right here. If we go look at Ethereum, it's doing the exact same thing. Obviously, most of the crypto space looks like this. You do have an occasional explosion on some random alt. We do see that almost every day. There's an asset up over 100% or up near 100%. Today, let's see. What do we got today? Today it's Sapien. It's up 227%, 51 million tokens traded in a 24-hour period. And then coming in second place is AIA USDT, 92 million tokens traded in, and it is up 101%. So there are a few big movers almost every single day. And also, if you look at crypto as a sector, the privacy sector right now is on fire. If you look at tokens like Zcash, absolutely exploding to the upside. There is a macro reason why this is happening. I did post a short on this, but I did not pay attention to a lot of things that I should have paid attention to. We'll discuss those things too, but this Zcash, XMR, Dash, all three of these things are in the same sector. They're all privacy tokens. They're all doing good. We were looking at this as a buy yesterday at this level. You can see right here, it is working. And then I uploaded a video yesterday, a little bit near the end of the live stream. We started looking for Forex trades, and I did a breakdown on long-term potential for the dollar. Check that out if you didn't get a chance to check it out. I posted it because there were trades you could have taken right then and there when I posted the video. That's why I uploaded it to the world. So that way you guys could participate in a potential big move on the dollar. So hopefully you got to check that out. Hopefully you got to get into those positions because they are doing pretty good today. Here's the short. Excuse me one second. Hopefully that fixed it. Here's the short on USD/JPY. Took this live. We also took the USD Swissy trade live. Both of those assets are looking pretty damn good this morning. And like I said, you would have been able to take those. You had plenty of time yesterday to take either one of these positions. and that's spawning off of a bigger, larger time frame dollar trade that could potentially work out. I'm also short euro, but I've been short euro for a few days. Not really a short to take here on the euro. We'll see, right? You're at the weekly open. You did make a fresh weekly high. So if those $2 positions are going to get stopped out, if, then you could potentially short the euro right here, right now, or at 9:30. Not right now, but at 9:30. Yeah, and that will protect those other long or short dollar plays. So we'll discuss that, but right now the euro is potentially setting up. So basically, I'd be watching the previous 4-hour swing high. I'm not going to participate in this. Obviously, I'm already in it. But basically what we did, we just wanted to make sure we had on positions for the opposite. So like the dollar is at a massive technical level here, whereas it could either be getting ready to break out to the upside right here, right now, and do what it did last quarter. So this is Q4 2024. These three candles right here, that's all of Q4. So they started cutting interest rates here, and the dollar rallied. So in a sense, you had a rate cut rally on the dollar for Q4 2024. And then 2025 opened up at the beginning of the year. The dollar literally just put in this massive move lower, which is to be expected in a rate cut. A rate cut is, hypothetically supposed to be bearish for the dollar, right? But anyways, you're at a long-term 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 month range here. And yesterday you were testing the top end of that range. So if you're going to see a breakout here, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to break out. We don't know if it's going to break down. But I put that video out yesterday so that way you could get positioned in both cases. So that way you can participate in dollar rally, or you can participate in dollar reversal. I think this is a very good place for that setup, in my opinion. This looks like a bear flag to me. I don't know if it's going to have bear flag continuation, a breakdown and continuation next year. We just don't know. But I think this is the best place to look for that to happen. Now, this trade could take several days to set up here, right? It doesn't have to play out yesterday and today. It could take a week. It could take a while. When we get at big levels like this, sometimes it does take a while. When we shorted Bitcoin in 2022, when we nailed that short, the secondary short that came in April, that trade actually took over a week to set up, but we were watching it the entire time. So there goes that move right there on Bitcoin. It's starting to head lower. I don't know if there's any news expected. We did get a BOE interest rate decision. The Bank of England, they did nothing. They didn't do anything, so it doesn't really matter. And I don't really see anything here. Now tomorrow's going to be interesting because we're supposed to get non-farm payrolls, but the government is still shut down, so I don't know if we're supposed to get that or not. But it's not just going to be non-farm payrolls for this month. You're also going to get the report from last month, because last month is when the government did shut down. So we didn't get the data release when we were supposed to. They're supposed to release both of those tomorrow. But like I said, I don't know. If the government's still shut down, as far as I know, we may not be getting either of those tomorrow. But anyways, yeah, so I took a short on Ethereum. I was watching Bonk yesterday for the short, but it was just so choppy and slow, the price action yesterday, that I wasn't able to get in it. And then it broke down when we opened the new daily. So here's the Bonk setup that I was looking at. I was literally watching it here. And then yesterday when it made a new daily open, which is here, it went up. I go to bed early because I'm old and I like to get up early. So this move happened after I went to bed. So I did have a short on here that clearly got stopped out. And then when I woke up this morning, we were already taking out this candle's low, and I'm not going to chase that move down. The short for me would have been here, right here, but I wasn't able to get it because this happened while I was asleep. So when I woke up, since it was already on the low of this candle, I did not want to take that short. So instead, I waited for Ethereum to set up. The best trade on Ethereum obviously was up here, right? This was the best trade. I was waiting for this. I did not get the test. So the next best place to take the entry was here. So that's currently where my short entry is on Ethereum. And then, of course, I have a Bitcoin short on that we took early in the week. I want to set, let me just pull it up. I don't even remember where I took it. Here's the trade. Give this a second. I don't know what it's doing here. Okay, now I remember what we did. Okay, so here's the breakdown. This is where we were trading during the New York session. So that's the wick we were watching for the short side set. Now we took the short side set at 108.030 on Bitcoin. Clearly, shorting the weekly open would have been the best trade, but the best trade was the short Friday, the Friday high. That was the video that I posted on Saturday, telling people if you are looking for shorts on Bitcoin, you want to short the Friday high. This is the Friday high. That would have been the best short setup. But if you missed that, the next best short setup was Monday morning right here when you wicked up into that and then dropped. That was the secondary best short setup. So we don't know if we're going to get downside continuation. Yesterday was an inside day. So if we are going to get downside continuation, I would expect that to start today. If the buyers intervened and there is going to be a dollar reversal, then you could see Bitcoin bounce, like go up, like potentially back up to the week open before Sunday. So we'll see in the next couple days what they're doing with the dollar. The reason we want to know what they're doing with the dollar is because for the last few days, I think maybe week and a half, almost 2 weeks, the dollar and Bitcoin have been trading together, but inversely correlated. The dollar's been strong, Bitcoin's been weak. Risk markets have been strong. S&P's, NASDAQ, IWM, they've all been strong while Bitcoin stayed weak. The only thing that I could find, the Japanese yen weak. Like everything suggests Bitcoin was going to find support, but it didn't. It continued to break down. So the only other correlating factor would have been the dollar because the dollar was strong. So right now they are kind of trading inversely correlated. And you can see that if you pull up the daily chart and go to the correlation coefficient and then just type in DXY right here, apply that and you'll see, oh, I already have it. Sorry, I forgot that I already had it pulled up. But you can see right here that it is heading closer and closer to inversely correlated. So 0 means they're not correlated at all. 1, positive 1, means they are positively correlated, which means they are both doing the same thing. So dollar rallies, Bitcoin rallies. And then negative 1 is inverse correlation. So it's getting closer and closer to being inversely correlated, which was another reason why I thought yesterday's video about the dollar setup was so important. Because we are at big levels, like the dollar's literally getting ready to break out of a 6-month range. Bitcoin is literally getting ready to break down out of a 5-month range. So right here, right now, big levels. And since I already have that short on Bitcoin, there's no point in adding a new short here. That's why I'm attempting a short here on Ethereum this morning. We got about 15 minutes to the bell. Hopefully a few of you were able to catch the dash long. It doesn't look great long term, but I mean, it looks really good this morning. So that's a fabulous, explosive move there. When I say it doesn't look great long term, I meant the last couple days. It's just been slowly migrating lower. That is consistent with a pullback. Whenever you have a massive dump, you don't typically want to look to buy that, right? There's too much bearish momentum. There's literally no bearish momentum here. It's just slowly going lower, lower, lower. That's typically where we want to start looking for support. This fib is just this month's range. It's literally just the month of October. No, not November, but October's range. Last month, I should say. We're in a new month. But yeah, anyways, XMR, leave it alone. Zcash, leave it alone. The reason the Zcash short is not working is because of the funding rate. If you pull up Zcash, and we discussed this in depth yesterday, it's up another 18% almost. You can see this funding rate. Now, yesterday this was every 8 hours, but it doesn't matter. This is expensive. So the longs are being paid to just hold longs. When the longs are being paid, and it's being paid in a big way, 0.4% is huge money. So anybody that's just setting in this thing long, they're not getting out. Price is moving to the upside. You've got massive macro fundamentals for pumpage, if you will. You're getting ready to see a halving, and there's just a lot of really good reasons for buyers to be holding this position long. So they're not taking profits. And I wouldn't either, because it literally has been breaking above resistance and then turning that resistance into support the whole way up. Literally every single place. It's just breakout, test and hold for support, and it holds. Breakout, test and hold for support, and it holds all the way up. Breakout, test and support, and it holds. Same thing here, all the way up. Eventually it probably will roll over, and I wouldn't be buying it up here. I mean, there's plenty of divergence on that 4-hour chart. There's divergence on the daily chart. Yeah, I mean, you got a 93 on the week. It's just one, maybe 2 more weeks. This thing will probably roll over. Now, I'm not saying it's going to roll over and go back to here. I'm just simply saying this rally is long in the tooth. It is extended. It's a 93 on the RSI on the week. Like, that's extended. Super extended. So I don't know if this is going to be the high. The high could be $600 or $800. I don't know where that will be. I'm just saying eventually, though. Eventually this is going to pull back, at least for a week or two. You might not get a huge correction, but I would expect something like this at the very minimum. A weekly pullback that lasts for the week, if not a couple of them. So just be careful if you're looking for longs. And this jelly position, obviously, I don't know why that's still open, but we do think this one's done, at least for now. So, I mean, we might as well close it, but I mean, it's going my way. There's no point in closing if it's going my way. And then that ETH position, and then there's the Bitcoin short. So we're just chilling today. Just chilling. But I am looking for new positions, but the ones that we like to trade, they're really not setting up. Farcoin kind of set up yesterday, but it hasn't done anything to the downside, and this is always a cause for concern for me. So when I see assets like clearly pushing lower, but not being able to like break down, I get very, very nervous about holding that position short. This should have already broken down. Now, it may break down this morning. If it doesn't break down this morning, then I would say shorts are probably in trouble on this. This is a lot more extended to the downside than like Ethereum and Bitcoin. Right? I mean, if you look where your weekly 21 exponential moving average is, it's way up here. So this is getting extended down here. And price is elastic. It does pull back. And when it pulls back, when it snaps back to the averages, it's generally pretty aggressive. So just be cautious down here on something like this. Whereas Bitcoin isn't that far extended away from its EMA on the weekly or the daily. But Fartcoin is. I mean, it's pretty extended from the daily EMA as well. But it can continue lower. Of course, it can always continue lower. And then Pingu, similarly doing the same thing. But if you look at this on a long term, it literally has given back almost all of the rally. So the rally from April is pretty much been given back. So, yeah, I mean, I don't like trading that. I mean, most of the liquidity was literally smoked, purged, whatever you want to call it, on that fateful Friday. So, yeah, I mean, for new sellers to jump in here, it's a little risky. But I did like the bonk. I did like the bonk trade because the bonk was testing its weekly VWAP. So for me, that's pretty good. So generally speaking, as long as it stays under the week open, I can short that. Week open way up there. And then this is your November VWAP. So the monthly VWAP. So it did look the best for the short setup. This was a trap, and when I was looking for it to be a trap. And that's what I was looking for on Zcash the other day as well. I was looking for that last 4-hour candle to be a bear trap or a bull trap that was here. Well, it wasn't. It was not a trap. You got upside continuation. Upside continuation means it is not a trap. And then it's literally been going straight up since then. So right here is where we quit trading it. I didn't like it. I loved it for the short as long as it was trading under the weekly open. But when it broke back above the weekly open, I was very cautious. So I waited for the breakout above resistance for the trap to set. That was this candle. Then we sprung the short trade here, and then we were stopped out. So that's Zcash. And the funding rate has been up like that this whole week. That's why it's been going up. That with the macros. Those macros, man, they get in the way sometimes. They do. But it's all good. We'll be fine. Yeah, so I liked ETH as far as that goes. For the setup this morning, ETH was the best one as it came back up to the last 4-hour close. Yearly opening range is right here. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you know I definitely do not like to short into support. This could potentially be a massive support. So essentially, I went against my own rules here by taking the short into support. That literally means this is as low as I can expect it to go. So we need a breakdown here if it's going to continue to be bearish. If the 4-year cycle model is going to play out, then we want to see Bitcoin break down and continue lower. We don't want it trading above October's low, because October's low is that line in the sand. It was July's low. July's low. As far as I'm concerned, you can still consider July's low the line in the sand for the breakdown. It is a key crucial level. But since we made a low down here and reversed off of it, this is also a level to watch. So this is going to be the main level that everybody's focused on right here, right now. And then we can go look at liquidity, or let's look at ETF flows. They've been negative. They were negative going into the end of last week, and they've been negative all week this week, with Tuesday, shocker, being the most negative day. Of course, I mean, Bitcoin was down over 6% at one point on this day. We look at the fear and greed index, extreme fear on the stock market, crypto markets at fear. I don't think I've ever seen a bear market breakdown occur when we were already in fear. But there's always the chance for a first time, right? I asked Grok, but Grok couldn't handle the question. I couldn't phrase it in a way that he could understand. Basically asking him if there was ever a breakdown and a bear market ensued from 30 on the fear and greed index or under. Because crypto's been in fear since Friday broke down, since the China trade war tariff thing happened on Friday. The same day that Pingu dropped 80-some%. That was literally when the coin went into fear. So we've literally been in fear since this day. So we'll see what happens here. Very, very big level. Key crucial area here. Tesla looks like it's trying to break out. There's your all-time high, 488.54 on Tesla. Bears have been trying to knock it down here for a long time, couple weeks. They have been unsuccessful, which leads me to believe that the next spot is probably going up. It's probably going to break out. Now, you did break out here with no continuation. So, I mean, it's a risky trade to put on. You're trading it for the breakout. But the best entry would have been yesterday at the lows. Or, well, you didn't get a pullback into support. Almost, but not quite. There's our bell. Let's see how it works. August's low is being tested right now. That yearly open range down here is going to be a bigger level. Very important to see what we do here on Bitcoin and on Ethereum. Bitcoin's still well above its yearly opening range, but yeah. And if you were around for the end of Tuesday's stream when we were talking, because we were live while this thing was breaking down, we did measure a 2 standard deviation move and a 3 standard deviation move. If you were here for that, Bitcoin bounced pretty much at 99.5 like we said it might. So if you were able to get long at 99.5, that was a pretty good dead cat bounce. It didn't go as high as you would have liked it to, but it could do that today. So really and truly, Bitcoin wouldn't even be concerning to me as far as it breaking down and going lower if it fails to trade under 101.4. That's yesterday's open. So if Bitcoin stays above that all day today, then the upside isn't out of the picture. I think if you break down below this today, you might see a little bit a larger move ensue, but if that can hold, I think it'll be okay. Low of day is here. So, I mean, it wasn't a very big move. 102.3 to 103.5. About $1,000 move. Sub 1%. Let me get the euro pulled up as it's got live data. So it does look like the sellers are going to come in here before the New York Open. Yeah. So the euro, like I said, that's just to protect the breakout on the dollar. So if the dollar breaks out, then your short here will pay you. If the dollar rolls over, then the euro is going to go higher. And I mean, if you're looking for bearish Bitcoin, you're probably looking for the dollar to break out. And if it does break out, there's no telling as to how high it could go. We do know where the next liquidation point is on the dollar, so we can at least guide that. But next liquidation point is going to be 101.966, which is just May's high. There's really nothing else to liquidate. There is a couple weekly swing highs that come into play before that. So at either one of these levels, it could ultimately find resistance. There's a weekly swing low that hasn't been liquidated, and then there's the next weekly swing level. So those are your two weekly swing failure situations. And then, of course, the monthly is way up there. What I thought could happen is the dollar peaks above and then acts like it's going to roll over. That's why I didn't close my euro short. If the dollar peaks up here and then acts like it's going to roll over, comes down, finds support, and then rips and stops out all the retail participants that got short yesterday. You could still see something like that happen on the dollar. We will see what happens here, how this plays out. Dash is currently testing the midpoint of that large move that it had this morning. So it hasn't completely lost bullish momentum, but if it's going to continue to be bullish, I want to see that happen from here. So I want to see some support build in here. Ethereum is breaking down below the August low and the yearly open. But we could be in for a nasty move here today. Nasty. Daily support incoming. It's a big level here. I would not doubt it at all if it does bounce. Trying to catch the bounce is going to be difficult, but if you have a long side bias right now, things are kind of, I mean, the macro supports a bull market, but you gotta let price tell you what it's doing. Like, you can't just try to catch the lows when something is like literally close to breaking down into bear market territory. As far as Ethereum goes, I mean, you are more than under bear market territory. Now, clearly, Ethereum is a lot more risky than S&P and NASDAQ. But yeah, you're in bear market territory on Ethereum. If 20% down from the highs is how you classify a bear market. I use 30% when it comes to crypto, but even if you go with that metric or parameter, you're still in a bear market. Like, right here is 30%. literally just where today peaked out. Resistance is coming into play here because of November and the weekly VWAP. They're both very close to one another because they happened literally days from one another. We don't need moving averages because we do have the volume weighted average price. You can see how literally just one day away from each other. So strange. So this weekly VWAP is wrong. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. This should be on Sunday. Here. That's better. But still real close. What's up, traders? What's happening? What's up? What's the pants? No pants. Wearing some designer cotton shorts and no shirt, no shoes. My AC's out today. Thank goodness it's only 76 outside, but it is the morning. That will not last long. I gotta call a guy. Calendar update. No news tomorrow. Figures. Government still shut down, so they're going to have to announce 2 or 3 potentially if they stay shut down. DXY tagged the November open. Notice there's a little gap between October close and November open on both DXY Europe. The market could consolidate there for a bit. Could. Wes says check Aussie Yen. Aussie Yen is a really good asset to look at if you think risk off is coming. Looks really okay still for now, but it is working on a breakdown. It's got a long ways to go before you can consider this breakdown. I mean, you're testing last month's midpoint. It's consistent with a buying opportunity still. If you get below 98.89, then you can say that you're potentially working on a breakdown. But even then, a retest of 97.78 would be the next area of potential support. So, not a lot to work with here. I guess if you think markets are going to roll over, then you could watch like 108.22 for resistance or 103.68 for resistance. Those would be the best 2 places to look for shorts if you have a short side bias on Aussie Yen. I currently do not. The yen is weak. Now, will that change if the dollar rolls over? Yes, potentially. It'll give the yen a little bit of strength, but the yen is only 11% of the DXY basket, or maybe even less than that. So you would need full-on yen strength. You would need yen outperforming to the upside. Give us a miracle? Yeah. I don't know what a miracle would be. I mean, we've been watching these things play games for a long time. Been right on top of them pretty much. AUD. Oh, for a long. Yeah, I'm on AUD yen. That is this. Yeah, it is a potential long. It's down here, like watch the low. That's the midpoint of November. I mean October, sorry. So now that low is set, I would be more focused on this price. But in theory, if it's going to stay going up, then you could just see where the 21 is and Yeah, I mean, you're right in it. So maybe that low there, this low here, maybe that's where it bounces, maybe not. We'll see. I think we're positioned pretty good to catch the dollar. Regardless what the dollar does here, we have the position. Hopefully it stops us, stops one of those positions out and then gives us a nice trending move to close out the year. And then in that scenario, you literally put on a trade yesterday that you could be setting in all the way until the end of the year, which is all of this month and all of next month, which would be a nice trade. Very nice trade. Obviously, I would be taking profits before the year closes out, a week and a half before. But yeah, I mean, it is potentially setting up here. I never like to buy with bearish momentum. But it is trading into a level of interest. For sure. I wish I would have been able to catch that bonk trade. It was just better. It was just a better setup. From high to low is a 5.7% move. From my entry on Ethereum to where it is a 2% move. So I would have got double the move had I been able to position in that bonk trade. But to be fair, that would have put me in shorts on Ethereum up in here. So let's be fair. Let's go up to the high. It's a little bit closer. Still, bonk is the winner as far as percentage gain on the P&L. Very choppy yesterday. Just a brief bit of expansion. Then it went into chop. And it's literally been into chop since. The fact that it's struggling to leave this area is concerning for my short. Same with Ethereum. This is going to be potential support here. I mean, if you put a line on this 4-hour close, that is your lowest 4-hour close compared to where you are now. That wick, like, touched it to perfection. Double kiss. So that would be 4-hour support or intraday support. Still looks okay for me. Once you get back above 33.80, then I have to really start thinking about closing that trade down. I don't have any long positions here. So do we like the long on Fartcoin right here? That's at daily demand. It's currently bouncing from daily demand. I'm trying my best to get these things to work. We could watch this for a long if we get a retest of it on Fartcoin, because this is such a slow move lower. And since Fartcoin is so extended from its weekly 21, we could get long just for the dead cat bounce or just for the snap back. And that way we would have a little bit of risk on the upside. because I'm not all out bearish here. I don't like Bitcoin under the monthly range. I can actually justify longs on Fartcoin. We don't need a full-on well, shit, we do. Never mind. So here's daily demand. We'll just DD that. Double D. Yeah, best case scenario is it comes back there and holds 2646. Let me set a long at 2646, see what happens. So to be honest with you, I missed the dash long. I don't want to buy it here. I like buying the sexy levels, the big levels, because those are the best trades. And I was looking at it this morning before it popped too. Here's your London session right through here. This entire section of price would have been your opportunity for your long. There's the point that we were watching. Yeah, good stuff, man. It's making money. Come on back, Fartcoin. Let us get in. I don't know that I want to buy Fartcoin if Ethereum is trading under 33.30. It's trading under this. I don't necessarily want to be long Fartcoin, but I do have a limit buy set out. Has anybody even checked the dominance chart as of late? I have not. Looks like it's trying to break to the upside. That could put some sell-side pressure on Ethereum and Fartcoin. And GLD bounced today. It gapped up because the dollar rolled over. So yesterday we were watching this 100 exponential, the blue level, to see if gold could break back down. Once it liquidated pre-market highs, it didn't really do a liquidation on pre-market highs. It did ultimately reject, but it closed above it. And for me, a rejection is just wicking above and then dropping. No closes above. A 30-minute close is not great. And then it literally held this as support. So the short was not initiated yesterday. Now you're trading into the daily 21 exponential on GLD. Ooh. If GLD could liquidate daily high and then roll over, the short could be there. In this scenario, you're trading above the moving average, so it does look more bullish than bearish, but the larger time frame chart takes precedent. You're under the daily 21 EMA. You're coming back up for a retest, and this is your monthly open. So a failure here would be a short. So you could buy a put or a put spread. I do not like selling calls. That's another way you can get short. I don't like selling calls because there's unlimited risk on the short calls. There's Fartcoin trading back down to that daily demand and pushing. So there is the entry. It's got to hold. And that's why Ethereum right back down. So if you're taking the Fartcoin long here, you need to make sure that your risk is mitigated. You can either mitigate that risk under this swing low or that swing low. It doesn't matter where your stop is. What matters is how much money you're going to lose on the stop. That's all you can control. So please, if you are looking to get long, make sure you have that risk mitigated. The markets do not look good for a long. You can see here, the only things that are up on the crypto watch list are Zcash, Dash, XMR, and TAO. LPT barely up. Everything else pretty much red. Near is also up. Litecoin is also on the list, or Grok says Litecoin is a privacy token, but it doesn't look like a privacy token. Its chart looks just like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So for whatever reason, Litecoin is not trading like Zcash, XMR, and Dash. Why is it doing that? It's because of the VWAP. Smushing price down like that. Not great. All right. Ethereum getting ready to make a fresh daily low. So that's kind of continuation. But remember, it's got to break down under daily support down here. You're trying to give me trade signals, bro? Yeah, I see that. I appreciate it, because sometimes I don't see them. I can't catch them all. I can't catch them all. But I have 3 open positions in Forex right now. I don't really need to open another one until I see what the dollar's going to do. I need to give the dollar time to work out. But you definitely want to be short Aussie yen if you think risk-off markets are about to appear. The VIX did test support again yesterday, and it held again. Here it is, the VIX. That yearly open tested and held. So you can see risk markets here breaking down today. Here's the cash market up top, slowly pulling back. You're down near the bottom edge of the expected weekly range for this week. This is the options market expected range low. I would rather be a buyer down here, me myself, but we'll see what it does if it gets down there. I like to be a buyer on 3, 5, and 10% corrections in a bull market. Fart coin pushing back down to low of day. All right, so looking like it wants to go lower here. So the ETH short looking pretty good. For anybody just joining us, I'm short Ethereum from here, and I was looking to potentially buy Fartcoin if it can stay above here. It's not wanting to stay above, but it could just be looking to run these lows. Then if it bounces back, I will jump back in it. And then Ethereum is testing the yearly opening range. It's a massive, massive level. This level literally defines whether or not Ethereum is up on the year or down on the year. But right now, Ethereum is a bearish yearly candle. Not great. Especially since Ethereum had a nice year. I guess it had it was a nice move from the April lows. Kind of a doji here is what it is. It's just a doji. Big, nasty doji. Would be a good looking candle if it could close as a bullish engulfing and get back above October's open. That would be a great looking yearly candle, but it's not what we got working with today. Isn't broke down yet. BTC looks tired, says Matthias Johnson. Yeah, it does. Looks a little tired for sure. It's been consolidating for 5 months. I mean, the macro is poised perfectly for it to literally rally and go straight up. For whatever reason, people just do not want to be buying Bitcoin at $126,000. You got the government shutdown. I mean, there's a ton of things out there right now that's causing markets to be a little bit fearful. It's a big level here, so we'll love the short if it gets down under 3286. Let's go look at some liquidation levels here on Bitcoin. Now there's some liquidity built up down there. Man, there's a big hole. But here's what I was saying. Since you broke down into this negative space here where there's like very little liquidity. It's so thin. We were expecting a bounce, but it's just a matter of time, and that liquidity builds back up because you got retail always trying to buy swing lows. So their stops are always going to be in here. So that's where that liquidity comes from. Now, if you get into a period where people just start selling their Bitcoin out of fear, this zero's liquidity zone does not matter. It will continue to break down. It will. We literally watched that happen this year. Yeah, so this year, earlier on in the year, this was like the last point of liquidity. And then everything down in here was just dark purple. There wasn't anything, but it just continued to push and push and push, even though there wasn't any liquidity to liquidate. That's fear selling. So fear selling could happen. Very thin liquidity in here. But you can see under that, there's plenty of liquidity. Not really anything to go on to the upside. So it is setting up and looking rough here. If these lows can't hold, Bitcoin can go much lower. But they could hold. Let's see if Fartcoin made a fresh day low. It did not. It got really close. It's dangerous buying it here, knowing that it could liquidate 2604. Or more than likely will liquidate 2604. And there's only 1 hour left on this current 4-hour candle. And right now it's working on a breakdown. So daily demand is here though. If Ethereum bounces at the yearly opening range, I assume Fartcoin will bounce as well. But that's a big if. Maybe if I get rid of here, let me just close one of them up, or both of them. There we go. Much better. You're still riding a 1/8 position in Bitcoin short. It's up 3-1. Nice. So here's 930. So Bitcoin liquidated anybody that got long for the New York session yesterday. Here's your 930 candle right there. So that was the low you set in during the 930 open. That low is the liquidation point. You've liquidated that. So if you trade back under this wick today, you got to be careful buying Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does not trade back under this level today, period, it might just go up all day. But if it's under this level, you can't be a buyer. Not really. because then it might be looking to liquidate these folks and then ultimately these lows, and then you would just be trying to buy swing lows when it's trending down, and that is not what you want to do. Right now the trend is set to down. As long as you're under the October low, you are trending lower. That's why it's such a huge level. Your sell side VWAP for the month of November, right there too. Not great. This price action does look heavy. Heavy, weak, same thing. This level here is daily support. This is yearly open. Trying to keep my eye on what risk markets are doing. Risk markets are breaking down. So VIX has retested yesterday's open. I hope today isn't a slow day. I was hoping today would give us that continuation move. I haven't looked at volume profile at all today. Let's see what volume profile looks like here. Doesn't look great. Volume profile doesn't look great, and cumulative volume delta doesn't look great either. It doesn't look super bearish, but it doesn't look great. So here's your open of the day. That was your previous day low. You're back above that. Can it hold that? Yen is the strongest on the day now. Is it? See, my currency futures chart on this will not be. It is. The yen's up 0.46%. But that can change. We've seen this stuff change before. But yeah, I mean, risk markets are getting beat up pretty bad here. 68.25 down to 67.69. You've taken out yesterday's low on the cash market. It needs to start to trade away from this yearly opening range if it's going to be bullish. The longer it spends time down here, the worse it's going to look. And then Lunar says, quarterly chart for the dollar tells me I get to see yet another crisis in my lifetime. Looks like a bear flag, doesn't it? Kind of hard not to see it once you see it. Once you've seen it, it's there. It's good. Gonna get paid. We're gonna make money on the dollar, that's for sure. I mean, we've already made money on the dollar, but we're going to make more money on the dollar. Could there be a narrative shift with Zcash? Hearing whispers of BTC being donated by BlackRock, or dominated by BlackRock, ETFs and whales. Zcash is for the people. Could happen. What do you mean, could there be a narrative shift? Right now, the narrative is super bullish for Zcash. So Zcash's rally isn't an isolated speculation. It's fueled by a perfect storm of fundamentals, technicals, and narrative shifts that insulate it from broader market smoke. Because I asked Grok, why isn't it getting smoked with the broader market? Key drivers behind ZEC's outperformance, and this doesn't even take into effect the insane funding rate that is right now paying bulls. So cut that out completely. Or even if you just had that, like even if you didn't have any of this stuff, just the funding rate alone is good enough to keep it pumping. Bulls are getting paid to hold longs, and they're getting paid handsomely. But its third halving is set for mid-November 2025. That's if it, I mean, it works the same way as Bitcoin's. It's going to be slashing the supply in half. And then global surveillance fears because it's a privacy token. You know what I mean? There are a lot of them. High profile calls. Arthur Hayes predicted a $10,000 Zcoin or Zcash token coin price. Like what? 10K? You're at 460. 10K? Yeah, generally when I start seeing insane valuations, I typically want to start looking for the opposite side of the trade. I wouldn't be buying Zcoin where it is right now. I wouldn't be buying Zcoin next week or Zcash. It is massively oversold. I mean, overbought. Sorry. It's going to roll over eventually. If you love it a week or 2 weeks from now, then maybe buy it. There's nothing to do with it today or tomorrow. It is bullish, right? It's just breaking out. It could start pulling back literally any second now. You're at 93 on the weekly RSI. You do not want to buy a 93 weekly RSI. Yes, it can continue higher. It can stay overbought forever, right? It isn't. It will pull back. So buying it up here at these prices is so risky. I was looking for the short before I saw the funding rate. If I seen the funding rate, I wouldn't have taken the short. But you get rid of that funding rate, or at any time I see that funding rate depreciate a little, this thing's going to be back on the menu for shorts. It is massively overbought. You've got divergences printing like crazy. You're printing a daily bearish div right now. You printed bearish daily div over here that never really played out. I guess you could say that's playing out. This divergence. And to be fair, you don't really have daily divergence. anymore. There's still 8-hour divergence and weekly divergence. This is a much higher high and a much higher close than what you got here on this candle. So it was stretched out here. Now it's super stretched out. It's going to pull back. Look how far away it is from its 21. 21's coming in at 173. This thing's at 522. It's not going to get to $10,000 anytime soon. But catching the reversal is going to be difficult. The reason we like the reversal is because of this stuff. But this is a trap. Like, this aggressive move lower pulls in everybody that's been trying to short Zcash. They've been trying to short it since way back here, right? Then they shorted it here. Then they shorted it here. Then they shorted it here. They got stopped out. And then they watched it run to the downside really quickly and aggressively. So then their fearometers in their brains started going crazy. Oh, crap. Now the short's going to work. I'm going to miss it. I got to go in with everything I got. Well, boom, got him again. Yeah. I don't know when the short's going to make money, but it's soon. Very, very soon. But you can't short it until the funding rate decreases or flips to pay the shorts. It's paying the bulls so much right now, it's almost worth buying swing lows just to hold the chop. Just to hold the chop. Now, one positive about the funding rate, at least it's every 8 hours and not every hour or every 4 hours. It is every 8 hours. So, but even then, still, it makes it very difficult, because think of all the longs that are long from like 350 or 330 or 300. Price is way above their entry, and they're getting paid 0.5% every 8 hours just to hold the long open. They're collecting a premium every 8 hours. Every 8 hours, shorts are paying the longs. That makes it more difficult to short, because the old longs won't take profits as long as the funding rate is so high. So when the funding rate changes, that will become a narrative shift. That will shift the narrative. Now it's no longer paying you to hold longs. People will start taking profits. That could spark a down move. But we'll see. We'll keep it on watch. I think you would have better luck shorting something like XMR or Dash. At least those have already pulled back. Like, Dash got hammered yesterday. But you've already taken out yesterday's high on Dash. See, I don't like buying way up here like this. It's crazy. I would rather buy around the daily 21 if I'm going to buy it. But Zcash, just a matter of time. This thing is cooked. This thing was trading for $50 a token in the end of September. September or in November. That's literally the whole month of October. It just went straight up. That's insane. And it's been pulling back. So, it's been a really consistent bullish rally. It's been a really good rally. A good rally to be involved in. So, Fartcoin is bouncing, but we'll see if it holds here. My concern is it didn't liquidate the low of day. I wish it would have done that before the bounce. Because as long as you've got a double bottom down here without the liquidation, it scares me. Because this becomes a bearish target later on. Like you can see, here's a double bottom. Here's a perfect example, right? This wick doesn't quite get there. Well, now that becomes a target. So your shorts hammer it looking for that. Boom. Gets it, immediately it bounces. So I don't like the double bottoms, especially when the liquidation doesn't happen. But we'll see what it does. I love the way it looks on the 4 hour. So as long as you're not closing, as long as this candle is not closing under these lows here, I like this look. As the midpoint, not quite the midpoint, but roughly the midpoint of that expansion is trying to hold a support. It's daily demand. And it's so far extended from the weekly 21. We're just looking for a dead cat bounce. That's all. If it even bounces. Bitcoin. Like I said, you liquidated yesterday. New York longs are gone. It could rally for the rest of the day. I don't know that it will. Structure still looks bearish here. You've got an engulfing candle already, or an outside candle. It's got to get above here to be a bullish engulfing. Now, if it closes as a bullish engulfing, that's going to look really good for support buyers. So, people that are looking at this candle right now, they're just waiting to see what this thing does. How does this thing close? If it closes under the lows, it's a bearish engulfing. They're not going to buy it. If it closes as a bullish engulfing, it doesn't even really have to be above this candle's high. But if it did, it would be better. Then you would have support buyers coming in higher. Those support buyers will come in higher. So the next 4 hour candle, wick down into here, could be looked at as a buying op. But it's only going to be determined by how this beast right here closes. Looking at a 1 minute, you see none of that. At a 1 minute, you just see a bunch of garbage, bunch of chop slop, bunch of choppy up and down price action, random stuff. I mean, clearly, if you were watching October's low, that was a very good place to look for entries. But if the dollar rolls over, Bitcoin may trade back up into the range, as it is inversely correlated right now. And the dollar is currently working on resistance. Currently trying to bounce. I mean, roll over, sorry. Look how long that liquidation took yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. There is a gap back up here, but if it gets up above 100, I'm assuming it's going back to the upside. It looks like it wants to go up, but I agree. This looks like a bear flag. It definitely looks like a bear flag, so I ain't the only one that sees that. Lunar said it too. Look at that. It's a flawless short setup. It's like you can't get any better than that. We don't know that it'll work, but damn, That's beautiful. This candle could end up closing just like this one. And that would look sexy. Oh. With a wick up here like that. That would be nice. Now that's a big fat if it rolls over. Most people are short the dollar because of rate cuts. I have to assume rate cuts are typically bearish for the USD. So I have to assume most people are bearish. So that's what's causing this rally, because everybody's off sides. Everybody's on the wrong side. When it failed to break down here, this is when we started to get more of a dollar bullish bias going because of the failed breakdown. Not only did it fail to break down, look at the reaction that happened after. Now, it was an FOMC meeting, but that it doesn't matter. They used the news to drive it lower and cause the liquidation, and then they bought into it, knowing that most people are off sides right now, looking for the breakdown. Now you're all the way back up to the top end of the range. So this is where it matters here. And I'm going to be honest with you. If the dollar can't break down and start putting in lower lows and lower closes, this is going to look like it wants to go higher. And then, like I said earlier, you've got a few other levels here for liquidations up higher. The next monthly level to liquidate is all the way up at 101.928. So there's plenty of room in here for an expansion. If that happens, you could say that the yearly trend is repairing. But I would only anticipate that to happen for Q3. I would look for 2026 to continue lower, as long as the Fed stays dovish. As long as inflation continues to trend down, or at least stay flat. Flat to down on inflation, I like the dollar lower in 2026. So this setup right now is just for the end of the year, for the rest of the year. But if it is going to roll over, it has done all it needs to do. But this is a perfect way to set up sellers. Now sellers are like, oh, this is a reversal? Okay, I'm going to short it. It's definitely going down. Yeah, not necessarily. You got overbought on the daily. That's crazy, man. So the bulls still have the momentum here. Fartcoin pushing back on lows. See, I don't like it leaving it like that. If the dollar breaks out to the upside and continues the rate cut rally, I think that's going to put more sell side pressure on Bitcoin. So I would love the dollar to roll over here, at least while they're inversely correlated. Either way, no matter what happens with that dollar position, there was a trade to make. You want to be holding shorts on euro for rate cut rally. If the dollar continues to rally, then the euro will continue to roll over. If the dollar rolls over and becomes bearish again, then you want to be holding something like the USD Swissy short or the USD yen short. So by me getting short or long Aussie yen right now doesn't really make sense. I've already got a long yen position open. That would basically say, nope, this position, if I got long the Aussie yen, it would be reversing this position, or at least making it moot. But you guys can take it if you want. It's breaking down, so it'd be a hard buy today. If today holds the 21, then maybe. But you're under the daily 21 right here. It's based on yen strength, as Wes so aptly put it. The yen is the strongest currency, but just today. But a strong yen, it could be just a pullback. The yen has been like getting absolutely murked. Here's the yen. Oh, it's been getting killed. So, I mean, it doesn't look bad here. This looks like just a dead cat bounce. It's just snapping back to the average, to the mean. It'll probably find resistance and then spike again. And then that should be the end of it. If the markets are going to stay bullish, your Nvidias, your Microsoft, Apples, those markets. Bitcoin is signaling weakness. So since Bitcoin is signaling weakness, I would more or less want to be short this. I would want to have long yen positions, not short yen positions. Not yet. Only time will determine the winner. And with my positioning, I can't lose. I have stacked the deck in my favor. I cannot lose. I mean, I can lose a little bit of money, but long term, it will make money. It won't lose money. It's only going to lose on the whatever position gets stopped out. So Forex, we're good. We're situated nice on Forex, and we have Bitcoin long positions in cold storage. We have levered up Bitcoin shorts, levered up ETH shorts. So we have pretty good positions open. The Fartcoin long clearly not working. So it is stretched out, but it can keep going. I remember trading this at $1.40. It's 25 cents. I remember looking at it at $1.40 saying, why is this $1.40? Yeah, we've been shorting Fartcoin since July of this year. Fartcoin has been a fantastic asset to generate revenue all year, or since July. And it's breaking down here. 5% down on the day. It is a good mover. That's why we like trading it. You can get consistent 5% moves on this thing almost every day. Ethereum breaking back under the yearly opening range. If it gets going with momentum to the downside here, Ethereum could get really, really ugly. Maybe it just wants to liquidate the day low. It's a double bottom. Once again, this bottom, this bottom. And there it goes. Now, does it continue or does it flip? For anybody just joining us, we have a short open on you on this from 33.98. We're short Bitcoin from Monday's swing high. But we put this trade on this morning at 33.98. If you take October low, extend it out to the New York AM session, October's low, extend it out to the New York AM session, you can see the 8 a.m., 9 a.m., it rejected the October low. Yeah, that was earlier. We're trading under October right now. Cartels are moving their money. Probably. They do have a whole flotilla of ships surrounding them out there in the ocean right now. Don't bear flags fail 70% of the time? I've never done or back-tested that statement, so I cannot answer that. We can ask Grok. So a bear flag is a bearish continuation pattern in technical analysis, a sharp downward pull form. We know what it is. Failure rates vary by study, market conditions, and definition. Because let's be honest, the definition is a little bit subjective. Failure as 5% move post breakout. Yeah, it's going to be difficult. Like, they've got 47% success rate, 53% failure. Liberated stock traders got 45%, 55%. And with these odds, guys, you can make money. You can make money if you have a 45% success rate. If your risk management is on par or good or even average, you can make money with that kind of a hit rate. But yeah, I mean, I would be concerned with these two because everybody else is right around that 45 to 55%. When you get one out, like way outlier like this, that's I would question question how they did that, how they come up with the data, their methods. But to be fair, there's a couple people here saying it, not just one. There's 3. And those are success rate. Loose flag, high type variants succeed 85%, but are rarer. I mean, it's subjective, but even knowing it's subjective, even knowing that, I mean, just going by the year, this year, this is a bear flag. There's your pull down, right? That's your yearly open. There's your down pull. This is your flag. Looking at it on a monthly, it's a little bit more subjective because you've been sideways for, this is month number 6. So your flag pull is only 3 months down, 6 months sideways. So there's subjective definitions that say the flag can't be greater than the pull, things like that, right? I'm just looking at this as a key area. If it's going to be a bear flag, you can take shorts, or you can get long expecting the bear flag to fail. And with Forex, it's perfectly set up for that because Like, we have the perfect position here. We're short USD Swissy for the bear flag breakdown. We're short Euro USD for the dollar rally. So one of these two will be wrong. One of them will get stopped out. And then the other one will go on to make money for the next couple months. In theory, of course. But yeah, I mean, right now the weekly open is still holding, and you did get a fresh week high here. It's still holding. I don't love the short this low on Euro USD. Today's Thursday too, so tomorrow this thing's going to close the week up. Well, I mean, it's going to close it up. Not necessarily up on the week. It's just going to close the week. Preferably, I would love to see the close under last week's low, as that would look better for downside continuation next week. But we'll see what it does. Bitcoin liquidated, the low bouncing. Be careful trying to buy these low licks. It could do that all day. Yen is still up on highs, so the yen is still expanding to the upside. And VIX is expanding also. VIX is up on day highs. Your risk markets are rolling over and making fresh day lows right now. The risk markets, this is the S&P 500 futures. Well, it's actually the CFD product, but it's live data. It tracks the futures. It's doing what the futures is doing right now. So your risk markets are breaking down, putting in fresh day lows. Here's your previous month midpoint. This could be a buying area on the SPOOs. But that VIX, man. That VIX looks nasty. If the VIX continues to expand today, obviously I would expect Bitcoin to continue lower. I guess the best rule to take, like if you consistently find yourself trying to buy day lows and trying to sell day highs, you got to set a point at which you stop. Like, how many consecutive fresh day lows do you need to say, okay, I can't buy this anymore? Or how many consecutive fresh day highs do you need before you say, hey, I got to stop selling this thing. Otherwise I could get rectified. We're getting almost to the point where we need to take profits on the ETH short. Oh, for me, I'm going to more than likely set that take profit here. Let me go ahead and get that going. For any newcomers, please do not trade like this. Always use a stop loss. I obviously know I don't have a stop loss out yet, but I'm sitting here all day. I watch these things. We want to take profits at $300. So if we do 100%, it'll be 100% return on equity would give us a 335 take profit with 75% closure. So we're closing down 75% of the position size. And then we'll set a stop to be 0 at 100% of the position size. Now, if you set this order, if your take profit gets hit, you will have to go back in and redo the stop loss. I don't know why the stop loss isn't up there, but it's in the open orders, so I can fix it in there. Because your position size will be, it'll open you in a fresh long all the way up here. You don't necessarily want to do that. So if your take profit gets hit, you will have to go in and change the stop loss to take 100% of the position size you now hold, as it will be reduced greatly. My risk to reward setup on day scalps like this on this small account is 300 is what I look to make, and I look to lose 100. But I break that up into multiple entries. So I'm usually risking about $30 per trade. This way I can be wrong twice. I'll lose $60, and if I'm right the third time, I'll make 300. So it's a great risk to reward. It's a good way to trade. You don't have to be right every single time. That's what we're working with. Given the whole quantum computing and all. Oh, I didn't read what you were saying before that, as the comments just popped up. Good morning, says Tom. What's happening, Tom? How you doing, my friend? Been a long time. Good morning, Ed. What's up? I don't know how to fade the pattern. I don't know. I fade the pattern all the time, says Wes. And then Lost Soul says, bots are flooding the feed today with, oh, that's admin, noise. Yeah, Wes isn't a bot. Wes, you got called a bot, bro. I'm just kidding. Yeah, this is quite brutal. Price action, says Lost Soul. I mean, it is for people that only hold long positions. It's great price action for anybody that's short. It's good looking stuff if you're holding open shorts. If you're an owner of Bitcoin, if you own Bitcoin, you should really learn to trade, because learning how to trade, or at least at the very minimum, where and when to put on positions, that way you can short a futures perpetual swap contract, or you can buy puts on, like, say, an IBIT or BIBT to protect your Bitcoin holdings. If you're long only Bitcoin, if you've bought Bitcoin and you're holding it in a cold storage wallet, then anytime Bitcoin has a 20 or 30% drawdown, your account's going to go down with it. If you learn how to trade, you can protect that position by also holding shorts in downward trending markets. And right now, Bitcoin is currently trying to break down. As long as you're trading under October's low, you are breaking down. You are trending lower. This is the definition of a trending candle. And I'm talking about the high time frame candles. You've only got 3 kinds of candles: trending, inside, outside. Those are it. That's it. Those are the only 3 kind of candles that get made. Right now on the monthly chart, Bitcoin is a trending monthly candle. You are trading under the last month's low. This is trend continuation. Yeah. It sucks for people that only do the long. But for people like us, we love it. It's a way to make more Bitcoin too. So by learning this strategy, you don't need to ever buy another Bitcoin with your hard-earned money. Right? You take the profits that you make from being right. You're not always going to be right, so you got to keep your risk situated to where when you're wrong, you're wrong small. But when you're right, you take that money and you invest it into Bitcoin. And you can build up a Bitcoin portfolio with never buying it with your own money. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Long only is not the way to roll. Not in 2025. Not ever. You got to mix it up. I got an unrealized P&L of $1,000 right now. With very little capital at work. I mean, obviously the ETH position and Bitcoin position is about $1,000. So, I mean, I'm putting $1,000 to work and the account is up $1,000. It's like it is a 100% return on equity. You don't need massive money to make money in these markets. You just got to have a consistent hit rate. Bitcoin bouncing hard here. Bitcoin going to the moon. Probably not going to get that. That is a very, very far target that I have on Ethereum. It's probably not going to get hit today. Because this is a measured move of the original breakdown. Ooh, wrong tool. So if you put this on like so and clone it, you went beyond the measured move to the downside. Even if you bring this a little bit lower to get this stuff, you still hit that. So, I mean, either way you look at it, you have a perfect measured move here. So that would be one standard deviation. And it's inside of yesterday's range. So yesterday was inside Tuesday's range. Tuesday was a downtrending candle. Then you put in an inside and you're working on another inside candle today. So it needs to break down here. This is daily support. It could hold. Usually I want to get my profit targets up above that. But once again, I was trying to get 300 instead of letting 250 be the target. And that might come back to bite me in the ass. We shall see. But another standard deviation move today would put you down to close to yesterday's low. And in that scenario, my profit target would get hit. This is why I am here. Been with Jordan for years now and remembered your channel being in the US. I want to hold shorts and I remembered you used to trade on KuCoin. Here to learn. Love it. Yeah. I used to. I'm on weeks now, but I went from KuCoin to what was it called? BitGet and then to weeks. But eventually I might switch over to Coinbase because Coinbase now offers futures. I haven't made my mind up yet. I already have an account on Coinbase, but they want me to like re-upload licenses and all that stuff, and I don't know why. They already have all that to trade their futures platform. A lot of setup, a lot of extra work to trade something I'm already trading, which is BTC futures. There's just so many different ways to trade Bitcoin volatility nowadays. You really don't. It's just up your choice. Being an American citizen, you can trade on Coinbase and trade Coinbase futures. Make sure that it's a perpetual swap contract and they don't have expirations, because if they have expirations, then your positions will get closed on expiration. So it would be similar to that of an option contract. With weeks, it's a perpetual futures contract, so it never expires. So you can hold it indefinitely. But it looks pretty bad today. We are just shy of taking out yesterday's high on the VIX. Yesterday's high on the VIX is $20.02. Today's high is $20.01. Risk markets, ES futures on fresh day lows. Ethereum is bearish on the year. You are down on the year. Almost 1%. Making fresh daily lows on ES. 67.36.16. 67.34. You're getting ready to tag last month's midpoint. That could be the point to which this thing stops bleeding. I don't know what this volume weighted average price is. I would have to look. I know you can't see the whole thing. Oh, it's October's. We can leave that there. Well, it's the previous month midpoint, so we don't need it. We don't need multiple things telling us what it already is. We want this on November. Now we can go back to normal. So it could find some support here intraday. And then there's your VIX. You do have a fresh day high, fresh 2-day high. GLD rolled over at the monthly open. And DXY pushing on day lows. I'm kind of curious to see what the correlation coefficient is on risk markets right now with dollar. These are OPEXs. Not correlated. So right now, there's very little correlation, if any, with the risk markets and the DXY. But with Bitcoin, they're inversely correlated, or they're more inversely correlated than they are not correlated. So if the dollar continues to push on lows, I would expect Bitcoin to find support. I don't remember what that level is. It's a nothing. Was it daily support? Probably. I got to, I don't know. I want to buy the risk. I want to buy ES, but I want the ES to get down to the previous month mid. I don't want to buy it before that. It is getting toasty in here. So on Ethereum, we did break down and close below 4-hour support. That's pretty nice, but I would love to see it continue. This 4-hour support is the one in question. So that's a good look. Looking at it in the eyes of a short seller, they're going to be able to take shorts back again on Ethereum with any wick up into this area. So all the way back up to my entry. But we'll see how deep the bounce is. Where's the mid at? Oh, that's a day. I meant 4-hour. Mid is a little bit above the August low. I mean, below the August low. Mid is pretty... We'll just say that the August low is this 4-hour candle mid. It's already retested that. So if the sellers are going to continue to hammer this, we don't want to see it come back to here. You're welcome for the Pep Talk Lost Soul Ascensions. Anything I can do to help. Oracle, says Johnny Utah. Yeah, we can pull up Oracle. It's on the watch list. Oh, wait, that's Circle. Okay, I lied to you. Oracle is not on the watch list. My bad. So it's filled the gap. You're filling the gap. You're in a range. I mean, it's a multi-month range. This was a breakout of the range and a close above, but the fact that you came back into it could suggest that they want to test the bottom edge of the range again. Now, there are a couple levels that may come into contact with price prior to that happening. So as far as being a buyer on Oracle, one thing that I would want to happen is I would definitely want the VIX to slow its roll. You know what I mean? I would love to see the VIX roll over. Show me that it's back to being risk on. But you could, in theory, start looking to be a buyer on Oracle again at 226.13. But it is trending lower. So you would want to let price trade into that level first and then give it a day or two to see if it's going to act as any kind of support. But if the markets continue to be risk off, this is the bottom of your range. You lose this, then you're back to trending to the downside. And at some point, I'm sure people are going to, oh my goodness, you're already in a bear market on Oracle. But it's an individual stock. It's a fast mover. People are only concerned when the risk markets hit bear market territory, not when individual stocks do it, because individual stocks move so much, right? But it's pulling back. It's pulling back pretty deep. It's down 30% off the highs. So I'd want to see if this range can hold up price. If it does, then you can say, well, at least demand is coming back into the asset at 226 or in the 220 area. I wouldn't be interested in it until then. You are filling a gap today, right? So could this be the low? Maybe. But I wouldn't buy it just because it filled that gap. I need it to test a long-term objective level. This is an objective level. It's gap. I mean, you can't really be subjective on gaps. This high is gap fill. Right? And if you want to get even more technical, you could say this close is gap fill right there. So you have hit gap fill. You do have gap fillage in the village, baby. So will this hold? Only time will tell. If it doesn't, then I would not even think about buying it till 226. That's monthly support. Bottom edge of the range when you have complete breakdown, 216.31. And in that scenario, you're waiting probably for a bit of a trap, like a weekly bear trap or something. Right here's a perfect example of a weekly bear trap. Right here. Now, unfortunately, it did give you a nice bounce. Boom, boom. But you didn't get any upside continuation from that bounce. It then rolled back over and went on to make, much lower lows. But what you could do is just wait to see how this week closes. Tomorrow evening, you'll get to close. Does it close above or below the 50? If it closes below the 50, maybe it's trying to set in a little bit of a trap here. So you can basically see how they didn't pick it up right on the 50. They started buying it just a little under. Just a little bit under. So maybe wait for that to happen here. Or wait for that to happen next week. Then look to be a buyer on Friday at the close. So those are two different ways you could trade that. Hopefully that helps. That's how I would play it if I wanted to buy it. I don't know it. I don't own Oracle, so Yes, likely going to yesterday's lows. It's already taken out yesterday's lows. The cash market has. You're working on Tuesday lows. Oh, I guess it is Wednesday lows. It happened during the Asian session. I like it because it's the monthly midpoint. So a liquidation under that, if it stops going down from that point, one could take a long scalp on ES because you have pulled back more than 3% off the highs. So we can start being a buyer on the ES at 3, 5, and 10% corrections. So here's your cash market right here, up top right. There's your all-time high there. So you're working on just about 3% now on the pullback. So if we do liquidate yesterday's ES lows, then might be able to pick it up there for a quick 10-point bounce. And then you're only picking it up and then immediately closing it if you get to 10-point bounce. But yeah, you're right here at the bottom edge of the weekly expected move for the options market. The options market is where I get these green and red and blue levels from. Every week, I go see what the expected move is for the S&P 500 cash market, and then I put these in myself. And you're right now testing the bottom edge of that, which wasn't a good place to buy here, but ended up being later on the next week. It was a good place to buy here. It was a good place to buy here. So only time will tell if it's a good place to buy here now or not. Me, myself, I won't get involved until it gets below this wick low. If it gets below that and then starts to bounce, I would throw on a position looking for the 10-point scalp. I'm loving this 4-hour candle on Ethereum. Absolutely loving that. My profit target is setting right at 32-ish. 32.40. Right in here. So I just need it to go just a little bit lower. But it is struggling on the intraday chart. A 5-minute. This is daily support, so it could struggle here for a minute. I can't imagine daily support would be a better place to buy than the yearly open, but you never know. You never know. The VIX is elevated, so people are they're selling. They're just selling. They're scared. They're scared. People are scared out there. You're in fear on the stock market. Extreme fear on the stock market. You're in fear on the crypto market. This is generally the time or start looking for buys, but the best time to buy is like really extended, like a 3 or a 5 or even a 10. Not with leverage. Of course, you just start adding to the positions. Good stuff. I bet ZEC. Yeah, ZEC right now. So this is a good close on ZEC. You did not take out the previous 4-hour swing low. So it's still very risky because the funding rate is still paying shorts heavily. I mean, paying longs. The shorts are paying for long positions. So you'll have to pay to play. But if it can reject 536 or 535.59, I could put on a short position. I will not be putting on a short position because I don't want to pay to play. I would rather wait for the shorts getting paid on the funding to participate in a short, because then everything changes. But right now, you got to pay a hefty price to short this. XMR ultimately did roll over. They're in the same sector, so that's a good look. And then Dash also rejecting resistance. That's a good look too. So since these three are all in the same sector, maybe, just maybe, but this could be an upside continuation candle. It was here. The sellers are already hitting it or trying to hit it right there. It'd be risky. Funding rate is, it's going down at least. It's down to 0.32. That's every 8 hours. I'm sure people want to be shorter. It's risky. All right, ETH trying to put in a fresh day low here. Looking good. ES, it's like 12 points away. Yeah, I know. It's not far. When the VIX is elevated like this, the ranges are bigger, so it isn't that 12 points isn't far. So you could use half of a position and do a 10-point stop loss and a 20-point profit target on ES since the VIX is elevated. Your standard 5-point stop, 10-point profit target probably won't work. But in order to put that position on, you would need to lower your position sizing. ESZ 2025. I'm on the futures chart for ES. Yeah, we trade futures. Coin coming to a buy level if you like long. Maybe. I don't really like longs right now on anything associated with Bitcoin just yet. It's into weekly support. Yes, monthly support as well. So you haven't broken down out of the range lows yet on Coinbase. Range low breakdown, once you get under 291, you are trending lower. So it needs to hold at least above 291. And seeing how Bitcoin, you're already under what would be support. Now you could use this month's open if you want, but you're already breaking down under the same range on Bitcoin. So like if Bitcoin could bounce today and get back above 103, then I could be a buyer on coin. I could justify taking a long trade there. But since the VIX is elevated and risk is down and Bitcoin is currently trending down on the day, because you just 5 minutes ago made a fresh day low on Bitcoin, you are down 2%. So you are trending lower. I wouldn't be a buyer on Coinbase. Is that daily support for Bitcoin? It is. It is. It is. ETH is already at daily support. Bitcoin is just getting there. ETH is down 4% almost. So ETH is down almost twice as bad as Bitcoin. I'm glad I shorted ETH. ES about to make fresh day lows. So fresh daily lows. It's been pretty much a one-sided trading market all day, man. Boom. Boom. Everything's looking rough out there. MicroStrategy's down almost 6%. Just absolutely getting hammered. MicroStrategy pushing on fresh lows. Oof, man. Yeah, that's definitely where it's going. What does it do once it gets there? Ugh, looking rough, dude. You're under the monthly 21. Holy shit. This thing's probably getting damn close to being oversold on the weekly. It is. Where's the weekly 21 on this? I mean, 200. There's the exponential. Here's the simple. Whoa, you still got ways to go. Still looks rough. All right, futures is trying to go liquidate right now. It's straight down the day. Yeah. Taking its sweet time to get down there. You just tagged the previous month low midpoint on the ES, but you didn't liquidate yesterday's low yet. Push. It needs to get under that. Might be close enough. Probably won't get filled now. It bounced too hard. It's almost a 10-point bounce there. It's moving a lot. Gotta love the volatility, man. Ethereum is like failing to go lower still. It's down so much already, it's like hard to find new sellers. It's got to be new people selling based on fear. All right, get that ban on. It's getting hot in here. Can you look at MSTR and be like, this thing was picking the top? What? What do you mean? I don't understand the question, West. I mean, we just looked at MSTR. It's getting beat up. Picking the top would have been impossible on this because it was so volatile back then. I remember that week like it was yesterday. This thing went up like $300 in the span of a couple of days. So it would have literally been impossible. To pick the top on that, but it is the top. It never got back up there. And now it's back to range lows. They look tired. They look tired. I didn't get filled on the ES. It bounced up like 8 points instantly. But I was looking for it. See, this is, I mean, yesterday was a pretty lousy, slow day, but it was still a big range day. It looks like a small range day because you're comparing it to what it did Tuesday. Tuesday was big. So, I mean, this could end up being the low of day for Bitcoin. I don't trust buying it, not with everything looking the way everything is looking. But it could ultimately end up being. Starting to see that fear bit, or that fear hit the risk markets. That thing is flopping around at the lows. That was a big bounce. Oh, no, it isn't. It looks like a big bounce on the 30-minute. It is a big bounce. It's a 20-point bounce. So I didn't get filled, but if I would have, that would have been the profit target right there. 67.40, 67.22. So not quite 20 points, but 2 points shy of being a 20-point bounce. It's moving. But anybody that sold puts, they're in it now. Under that weekly expected. They're in it now. But you're definitely going to have people selling puts now expecting a bounce. How big is it down? It's down almost 1%. It's down 66 points, so it can get a lot worse than this. I've seen the S&P 500 be down almost 200 points in a day. It can go way lower. I don't think it will, but it can. New lows on Bitcoin. No new lows on ETH yet. What is the problem? Why are you slacking, bro? Even Fart's making new lows. Pingu's making new daily lows. Bonk's slacking. So it's ETH and Bonk that are the slackers. ZEC just... Yeah, leave this thing alone, guys. You need that funding rate to come off before this thing's going to roll over. It's just going to chop you up into millions of little pieces. Trade with the trend. You will do much better, right? Very easy short here on Ethereum. Bounce hard, not here, right? Let it pull back. Let it gain back some of that ground. And then let it find resistance. Well, it did right here. It's the highest close. There's your last swing low right there. It finds resistance at this swing low and never closes a higher 4-hour close. A very easy trade to short. The trend is down. It's bounced. Weekly VWAP, monthly VWAP. It's easy. And it's trending. Broke down, made fresh lows, broke. This is your range bound lows here. Very easy. If you look at daily candles, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is an inside day. I told my community yesterday that there probably would not be a trade on Bitcoin or crypto, right? Because we were expecting an inside day. I said the trade on Bitcoin or Ethereum would be if you liquidate this high and fail, or if you fail at daily res. That's where you're looking for the short. Very easy. This is when it's hard to trade, when it's doing this right here. So here's Monday, right? Tuesday, bearish engulfing. Wednesday, continuation. Thursday up, Friday up, Saturday up, Sunday up. So here's your weekly high. You set the weekly low, then you go up and set a fresh weekly high. That's when trading is hard. High to low, and then back up to new high. That's when it's hard. Or if you're doing like high to low, take out the high, then take out the low. That's hard. But straight, is easy. Like, you can't ask for easier. It's up to you as the trader to identify what it is doing. What it is doing. So like here on Ethereum, this is your weekly open. So that would have been the last point to look for shorts. Right there. You got stopped out on Sunday. But would you have stayed in the short if you shorted it on Friday? And then Saturday, you closed higher than Friday. Would you want to stay in that? If I shorted on Friday, Saturday better close lower than Friday's close, or I'm bailing. That's if you got lucky and got the high. I'm saying if you got short from here at the week open, would you have stayed in the trade with a daily close like that? You shouldn't have. But if you did, you got stopped out. That's when trading is difficult, when you get this kind of stuff. But fresh week open here, every single day was a lower high, lower close, lower high, lower close, lower high, lower close. That is a trending scenario. First inside day was on Friday. So clearly I wasn't looking for shorts, not really, on Saturday. It wasn't until we liquidated Friday's high that I wanted to be short on Bitcoin, which was here. Very easy. So when assets are trending, it is easy to make money, generally speaking. When they're choppy and sideways, that's when it's difficult. And as a trader, it is up to us to identify that. And then you can pick your spots intra-week. Like, you just got to know what the weekly's doing. Okay, we did get a liquidation on the ES. I'm going to try to send that order off. And I'm filled. I will bounce quick if I have to. All right. So yeah, I mean, it's up to the trader to be able to identify that stuff. You will learn how to identify that stuff. If you're new and you're listening to my voice, stick around, man. Stick around. I will teach you how to do this consistently every week. Week in, week out. Day in, day out. It's a little bit more difficult to trade every single day, right? Because you never know when you're going to get the inside day or the chop day or the chop week. You never know when that's going to happen. But generally speaking, when we get into positions, we're not in them for very long. It's my own fault that I got in at the wrong time on Ethereum. This wasn't the best entry. It's a good entry, but not the best. And if I would have taken it with the correct position size, I would already be out of it. Because generally I'm only aiming for about a 2.5 or 2.2% of a move intraday. If I can get a 2.5% move in my direction, then I can make money consistently. But I have to have the right position sizing. I don't trade Ethereum that often. So when I entered the position, I got filled on limit. And then I realized pretty quickly that I was in the wrong size position. But now it's starting to give us continuation to the downside. I just need it down to here. I just need it to go another $30 lower. VIX is trading above yesterday's high. That is not good for my position that just got filled. Unless it can reverse here. Yeah, the position sizing was just wrong. I could actually take out like 80% of the position, and then that would give me a little bit closer of a take profit target. So let me cancel this stop loss. This one. And then let's adjust this. Wait a minute, what just happened? Where is... I guess there is no... Okay, so it didn't even never give me a stop loss. So if I do, like, say 85%, I could do that and I would make my $300. Well, here, let's set this to -2. There we go. So this way I get my $300 for the day, and then I leave the Bitcoin short open. It's up to $770. This is a leave open just in case Bitcoin wants to take a nasty dump. And we're filled. So we made, minus fees, literally 20 cents less than my profit target. I'm not going to complain about that. But see, now I have to change this, because if it bounces back up here, it will close out this short position, but then it'll open me in a long for the difference. And I don't want to do that. So if you're out there thinking you shouldn't be taking profits now because it's going to go lower, I'm short Bitcoin with a full size position. I'm good. Like I'm catching the downside bottoming rip or whatever it wants to do. I'll be in it. But now I need to just set this and we're good to go. It's done. Set this to 0. What is wrong with you? I want to get out at 0. You know where that is. You should know where that is. -0. 3396. Okay, boom, all. It says all, so it's nothing really. It's just a little bit of unrealized profits. Position size is too small here. I should just have closed the whole trade and look to enter again maybe tomorrow or the next day. But either way, I mean, it's a good day. I mean, the average is, we're trying to do 300 a day. We're pretty consistently doing it. Not every day. Yesterday was yesterday was actually a loss because I ate the loss on ZEC, but I only took 2 losses on that. So I didn't even hit max loss on the day. I lost $60 yesterday. But I didn't trade Bitcoin or Ethereum. We're good. And the money doesn't matter, right? The amount shouldn't matter to you. If you don't have $100 to lose every day, that's fine. You could do $10 every day. It's not about making money right now. It's about learning a process. Once you get consistent, then you can scale up. I could do this if I wanted to. Instead of having a $300 a day profit target, I could have a $3,000 a day profit target or a $30,000 a day profit target. But my account size has to be big enough to do that, right? I can't do a $3,000 a day profit target if I'm trading with a $15,000 account. Not likely. But you don't need a $15,000 account. Like I only keep at I only keep $2,000 in the futures, on the futures platform. I leave the rest in spot. So I'm actually only trading with $2,000. And the only reason I'm using that is so that way I can get in multiple positions. I can have 10 open positions at once if I wanted to. But yeah, you can scale up or scale down. It's about learning the process. The process will get you to the promised land. All right, day good. We're good. Ethereum is continuing down. So how many is that? Let's find the day open. So there's your day open, roughly right here. So that was your first day low. Then your second day low, third day low, fourth day low, fifth fresh day low, sixth fresh day low. This is number 7. So you've made 7 fresh day lows in one day. That is a trend. And dollar pretty much doing the exact same thing it was doing earlier. Oh, look at that. You're back up to the weekly open on the euro. That not good. This is the week high right now on euro. So that means the dollar's trying to break down. I think yesterday the video, last time I checked, had like 160 views on it. If you guys were able to get in this trade, you could have taken the exact same entry that I did by the time it was uploaded to YouTube. And I even put the link in Twitter. So everybody that follows me, whether you're in Discord or not, you got the trade idea and you could have taken it. So you can see that the USD Swissy short is clearly working out here today. It is a 2-to-1 risk to reward. So even if you get stopped out from here, it was a good trade. Almost 2-to-1. Not quite. Almost. Close enough. But you can leave it open if you want. Yen is a little bit better. It's a lot bit better. Yen is like a 4-to-1. Or a 3.5-to-1. Same size, 25 pip stop. Yeah, it's a 4.6, 4.5-to-1 on the yen. And this was taken with a smaller position because I like the USD Swissy better. But it ended up being the yen that ended up being the better trade. Now, I'm not going to close either one of these because I have that euro position open. So if the dollar does in fact reverse and start to go back into trend continuation, the year trend is down. So if the bear flag, if it breaks down, this will get stopped out. But these two positions will make money because this will more than likely break back down again. And same goes for this. We actually shorted it over here last time, looking for this exact same scenario, but the dollar didn't set up. The dollar set up yesterday. The dollar set up yesterday. So seeing that now in hindsight, we did have the same trend continuation trade set up for the USD yen. The problem with the problem with this trade is the interest rate. You're paying a premium to set in this position every day because it's still the interest rates are still way skewed. It's still very wide. So it'd be better to set in the long to make the carry or to get paid to carry. Shorts have to pay to sit in the short. But we were looking at this as like a long-term head and shoulders kind of. And we were looking for this range to hold. Even though we got the clear breakout and close above. So this looks like a trend resumption, but long term. But if you're looking at it for 2025 only, which is here, then it's a downtrend, and we were looking for the breakdown. So this is breakout. That's your year open. You're closer to testing the year open. But if you fib the entire year range from year high to year low, you're still under the 786. So in theory, it could still roll over. But it's no longer going to be taking the trade based on the 1 year trend. It's going to be more like a 2-year trend. Either way, you have the position, you have the analysis, you should be able to participate in a pretty decent move from the DXY. Either way. Now, the DXY, the reason it's struggling here to break down clearly is because it's testing the monthly open. So that could be the support. If that doesn't break down by tomorrow, I would be a little bit concerned looking for dollar shorts. If you don't get a downside break and continuation tomorrow, I would start to get a little bit concerned that it's going to come back to smoke these top callers. The USD/JPY has a long-term trend line, but I rarely take trades based on trend lines. I'm usually taking trades based on objective price points. Monthly opens, monthly highs, stuff like that. Weekly opens, weekly highs. Trend lines are too subjective and they don't always work. Nothing works all the time, but we'll see what happens. Moving on. I know it'll be very annoying if the dollar does break down, because then it's going to be in a super long, it's already in a massively long range. But the longer the range lasts for, the bigger the breakout or breakdown could be. I mean, Tesla was in a long-term range before it got up into like, it broke out above 275 and just skyrocketed up to like 1200, and then they did a stock split and it kept going. Massive squeeze. I'm not looking for anything like that, but the longer the range is intact, the bigger the breakout usually is, or breakdown. S&P 500 is not bouncing. So Bitcoin is pushing down a little bit deeper here. This is daily support. Not good. I don't know if you'll get to today's low, or yesterday's low. It's looking more and more like it as the day progresses. It's got to be disheartening to people trying to buy it. All right, I got to bail on the S&P. Fresh day lows again. Fresh day lows. These things are going, man. Pretty bad day out there today for longs. Shorts getting paid. Oh, you mean the top of the year? Yeah. What's the next support level for Bitcoin? There really isn't. Let me see. I mean, there is clearly. Your yearly open is just under. So it's kind of into the next potential level. We don't know if it will be support. The problem with Bitcoin, I hope you're still here so I'm not repeating myself. The problem with what's happening to Bitcoin right now is you're breaking down out of a multi-month, a 5-month range. So as long as you're trading under this swing low, you're threatening lower prices. Now, with that being said, the next level to look for support is going to be June's low and then the year open, which is here. So June's low and then year open, which is also going to be May's low, funny enough. Either one of these levels could act as support. If you want to go in tighter than that, then you are technically at weekly support right now, because that's your lowest closing weekly candle since Bitcoin broke out above 100K. When Bitcoin exceeded the 100K mark, the big figure of $100,000, that ended up kind of being support. So you could make a technical argument right now that Bitcoin is in or at a potential support zone. Will buyers buy it? Because that's what needs to happen here. Buyers need to have a reason to buy Bitcoin. It doesn't matter what the reason is, but demand needs to exhaust supply here. Otherwise, it's going to keep going. I typically don't want to be a buyer at support in a downtrend. I want to be a buyer at support in an uptrend. Is the trend on Bitcoin still up? Yes. Objectively speaking, the yearly trend is still up. But if you go into the quarters, Bitcoin has a fresh quarter breakdown. So what I would have wanted to see for upside continuation on Bitcoin in a bull market is I would have wanted to see a swing low be put in at 105 at last quarter's low, and then I would have wanted to see that hold support. So this price right here, clearly it did not do that, but we can pull up Bitcoin on a new chart here just so I can kind of give you the best case scenario there. So in an uptrend, I want to see support form. There's your yearly open. This was your yearly low. You made a fresh year low, then you bounced, took out the highs. That is consistent with an uptrend. Next quarter, higher high, higher close. Good. This quarter, we want to see the same thing. But beyond this level, it's no longer a support hold. This is a legit breakdown. You are breaking down. Support didn't hold. On the daily and on the weekly, this is going to look like a nothing. A subjective support, but unfortunately, it's objective support. So now the next level that you need to see support hold will be June and then May. If you lose the yearly open, you're no longer in a yearly uptrend. You are down on the year. That would be very bad. That is never good. Never good. Support could come in here. It is the big figure. You are trying to hold 100K. So if you don't want to look at an objective price point, you could simply draw or do Alt H and then go into the coordinates and just type in 100K. That's where you want support to hold. If you lose this area, it's anybody's guess, because you're no longer... Now what's going to happen since you've done this is people are going to be looking to sell swing highs like they did here. Boom. They sold the swing high. And you're getting downside continuation. So now the sellers are in control. This needs to hold. Because the next sell level would be there. And then you'll start to see lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. And you need a macro, something macro, like you need some kind of reason for buyers to show back up. What I think really happened, my opinion, this means nothing, it's just my opinion, but really what I think happened is this was a black swan event. So up until this day, Bitcoin had only ever, like the most ever daily liquidations was $2 billion. And that happened back around COVID, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But $2 billion was the most ever long liquidations that took place. Black Swan event, $2 billion. This was like close to $10 billion day. You liquidated close to $10 billion worth of Bitcoin market cap in one day. So what we needed to see down here is that $10 billion come back in to Bitcoin. It didn't. Some money, very little money, came back into it, and then they stopped buying right there. And then that's when the sellers hammered it. Boom, boom, boom. So each time you make these fresh swing lows, you're taking out more and more of Bitcoin's cap gains or market cap. You're going to need all that to come back for the prices to go up. Your long-term hodlers, if you will. Where is it? Right there. Long-term hodler supply. It is consistently rolling over and has been since July. Since July, big money's been taking profits. We need this to bottom out, and we need to see a bullish spike. Bitcoin's in a lot of trouble here. That's why I've been trying to get people to start looking for shorts. That's why I've been telling people this. I didn't like that previous week close. I didn't like the fact that it bounced at the 21 and then couldn't get anything going here. I wanted to see it get this money back. And that's just not what we saw. In fact, we saw the opposite. And then you can go look at this since October 20. This was a really good day of inflows. This is a nothing. This is okay and okay. And then look at this. Boom, 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 boom. Just consistent outflows. Not good. Bitcoin's in trouble. And the problem that I have with all this is we're in a rate cutting regime right now. So the macro is supportive for the bull market to continue. But I can't make people that lost all that money come back and buy Bitcoin again. If there were several people that lost like 10, 15 million dollars, you got to be rich to be able to have a $20 million Bitcoin position open, first and foremost. Second, would you, if you were rich and you had $20 million worth of Bitcoin on this day, Monday, you had $20 million, or well, this is a weekly, but on Thursday, you had $20 million worth of Bitcoin when you went to bed. Friday, when you went to bed, you had $0 worth of Bitcoin. Would you take $20 more million and go buy Bitcoin immediately? No, you would be destroyed. You'd be so pissed off. Be mad at the world. That's what's happened. This day right here was a massive macro sentiment shift on Bitcoin. That is my humble opinion. And Trump needs to get his ass out there and start beating the bullish drum if he wants this to stop. And now you're starting to see this risk show up elsewhere. So now it ain't just Bitcoin. Now you're starting to see risk show up elsewhere. Right? So, yeah, I mean, even with rate cuts looming. Now, one thing that did happen with the last FOMC rate cut is Powell came out with a little bit more of a hawkish stance, and it caused the market to basically reprice in the December rate cut. So here's December now. It's slowly migrating back up. But after the FOMC, this went from like 90 down to like 58, 59, 60, 62. It was just a little bit better than a coin flip that we were because of his comments, because of his sentiment. If we were even going to get another rate cut in December. Now it's starting to build back into where it's looking more and more like we are. But you've also got the dollar rallying when it should be falling. So there's just Bitcoin's in a little bit of trouble here. People need to start buying it or it's going to keep tanking. Your sellers are winning the battle. And they're selling because they're afraid. They don't know what's going to happen. And they've basically been sitting in 100,000 Bitcoin for the majority of the year. It dipped below 100K way back when the bear market happened. Early Q1 2025. There was a period of fear in there where they were seeing, 74K Bitcoin. That fear subsided and then the buyers came right back. And the buyers have been pretty much in good shape all the way up until we got into July. And July is literally when everything started to change. Bitcoin couldn't get new, fresh demand. It couldn't break out. There's not as many people involved in this cycle as there were last cycle. Last 4-year cycle, there was almost 3 times as much volume being traded on a day-to-day basis than there is right now. Less people are participating. There's more and more institutional flow, but retail backed off. It's just crazy. Now the main problem with Bitcoin is so many institutions own so many billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. Those positions will start to get unwinded at some point, and that could cause a massive, massive cascading event. You should be protected for those kind of black swan events. You should not be just holding long Bitcoin with the seat of your pants, praying and hoping that it doesn't break down. I don't think it will break down. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm an optimistic person. I have an optimistic outlook on Bitcoin. I think it will continue to go up. I think this is just a little bit of a pullback here. More than likely, we're looking to take out this low. Now that we're down there, we've already got July's low with October. Now we've smoked October's low. The June low is the next low to take out, but it's also the next area that needs to hold. But at some point, for me, that's going to be, well, I'll be okay if we get back above the October low, but I won't be happy until we get back above the July low. The July low is right here. This is Q3's low. That's why this level was so important. I didn't want to see us lose it. Losing it for a day is fine. Completely okay with that. But losing the level and then putting in further downside pressure, not okay. Not good. Everybody that didn't sell on this day sold here. Like, they said, oh shit, that was a close call. We almost lost July's low. I'm exiting, dude. I'm bailing. And now here we are. So we need these people to come back, and we need these people to come back. But those people might not have the money to come back. That's the sad part about it. They might be washed out. That was a huge, huge event. Changed everything. So we need that bullish sentiment to come back. And right now, you're just not seeing it. Not seeing it. And the bad part about it is this thing isn't even oversold. Could the buyer show up again here? Yes. Yes. And the same case I made for Oracle earlier, I can make for Bitcoin here. All right. I'm not saying Bitcoin is done. I have an optimistic outlook about it. And my best case scenario right now is the buyers came in here every time. So will they come in here again? So I like the fact that this thing isn't down massively. It's almost down massively, but it isn't really. Like, we've seen 20 and 30% corrections on Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin rallies and makes fresh all-time highs after. So, but my question is, will they show back up here? I hope they do. I have faith that they can, but only time will reveal if they do or not. You are at support. We're pretty much there. That's why taking fresh new shorts right here, not such a good idea. The best trade was last week and then early this week. That was the best time to look for shorts on the Kern, the Bitcoin. But we'll see what happens. I'm sure some bullish people will start pounding the drum sooner or later. I think dollar rolling over would be best case scenario for Bitcoin right now. That's best case scenario. is this thing keeps on going back in this direction. Give it to us. And if it does, I think Bitcoin will start to rally. But that has to happen. If this thing breaks back out to the upside and starts to soar, you're probably not going to see those guys step back up again. But we'll see what happens. It's just going to take some time. You got a triple bottom on Bitcoin from yesterday on the 5-minute. Oh. And then it's fucking over, says KCC. I mean, you can look at it that way. I wouldn't. A lot of people get into the whole it's over and all that stuff. You're getting close. You're getting close. Sailor's cost basis is $71,000. Last time I looked, it could be a little bit higher than that now, but I think as long as Bitcoin stays above $71,000, it can be fine. And I'm fine with holding my Bitcoin down to $71,000. Because I mean, beyond that point, I'll start making money on Bitcoin. At some point, my short positions will overtake my long, and then they will start making money fast. Because that's how leverage works. I'm not holding any leverage longs. I'm just in Bitcoin spot long on cold storage. I have a 20x leverage short on Bitcoin. The farther down it goes, the bigger and bigger my P&L is going to get. And then when it's all said and done, I'll close that position and I'll buy and add to Bitcoin. So my Bitcoin holdings aren't going to change from this downside move. They're just going to grow if it goes down low enough. What I hope happens is I hope my shorts get stopped out. That's what I want to happen. My short is a hedge. It's a hedge. It's not making much money yet, but it will start to make a lot more money. The further and further in time this goes, I'll start adding to the position on swing highs. And before you know it, I'll own the short position will be higher than what I own in Bitcoin. And then I'll be concerned about a pop. But right now, I don't have to worry about anything. I just let this thing chop back and forth. Hopefully it finds support. Hopefully my short stops get hit. Because Bitcoin, I like it when Bitcoin goes up. People are making money when Bitcoin's going up. And that's what I want for everybody. I want everybody to make money. I don't want people to get crushed. Mr. Scott says all you have to do is buy ZEC. So, Vodka Net. What do you think on Aster Heath? Mr. Scott, we discussed ZEC. We think ZEC is going to roll over. If not this week, maybe next week. It's massively overbought here. You're setting at a 93 on the RSI on the weekly time frame. And the first time you got to 93 on the weekly time frame was at $296. You're double that now. So you're printing slight bearish div here. Well, maybe not, but okay, so you're not right here. But anyway, I mean, you got to close here or higher to take bearish div off the table on the weekly. A weekly bearish divergence will send investors running. It will. Most people don't take profits on the first oversold. Not if they have long-term beliefs on a project. It's not old enough for us to see generally when people run for the hills. But you can see on the weekly chart, usually it's around 80. So what's happening here is this is a short squeeze. The last 3 weeks have been a short squeeze. Once You take the funding rate from paying short or paying longs to paying shorts, your longs are going to bail. You are going to see a pullback on ZEC. Be careful buying up here, please. It might keep going up this week, and it might keep going up next week, but eventually you are going to see this thing pull back. And my opinion is it's going to pull back aggressively. Aggressively. But we'll see. We'll see. Right now, the funding rate on ZEC still supports longs, and it's doing it in a big way. A big way. The funding rate is huge when it comes to futures. It's massive because all of your people that bought back here on this weekly pullback, on this one, this red candle, everybody that bought ZEC here are holding it long just so they can make the funding rate. The funding rate's at -0.032. That's a huge funding rate. If you look at something like Bitcoin right now, look at the funding rate. It's 0.008. This is a normal funding rate. And Bitcoin's funding rate right now, funnily enough, is paying the shorts because it's positive. So the shorts are getting paid to hold. I have not taken profits on Bitcoin. I've made $4. Obviously, I don't have millions of dollars. But if I had millions of dollars, this 4 would be 4,000. Right? That's how the funding rate works. As long as the funding is paying the short, I can set in this short and make free money. It's interest. So that is what's going on with ZEC right now. People are just setting in the long. They're not taking profits because they're making a massive amount of money just because they're holding longs, and they're getting paid every 8 hours. Every 8 hours. So if you had multiple millions of dollars in ZEC at $100, you would be making thousands of dollars every 8 hours, or hundreds of dollars every 8 hours just by holding the long, regardless what price does. Just because you have the open long, you will get credited whatever your position size is with this percentage. When this gets flipped to the shorts are now getting paid, everybody that's holding long from here, they're going to take profits. And then your new shorts are going to pile in. That will be the pullback. Be careful. ZEC is fantastic. There is a halving coming up. It could keep going up. It could. I don't know when it's going to pull back. Just be careful if you're buying it. That's all I'm saying. And then let me check this other asset real quick for my man. What do you think on Aster? Let's pull up Aster and give it a look-see. Binance. Very new. You've only got 2 months of price action. It's so new. It looks like people are trying to buy it. People are trying to buy it. I guess people like it at around $1.92 for now. There's not enough price action here. You don't even have a 21. Well, you probably would have a 21. There's only 31 days of price action. Maybe there's more on another exchange. Let's see what Bybit. Yeah, there's a little bit more on Bybit. Not much. Right now, Yeah, there's really nothing to go on. I would want to see the buyers keep showing up there. That's about all I could give you. They need to buy at $1. If you start to lose $1, I mean, you're here right now. Oh, I mean, today's a pretty negative, nasty day for Bitcoin. So I don't know what's going to happen to this. But it's still, right now, the bears still have the daily momentum. You're still under the 50 on the RSI. So just with that alone, you could say the bears are in control. But if you fail to close lower dailies than where you are or a little lower, then you could potentially participate in this. You could potentially buy a little bit of it and see what happens. Just make sure you have a stop loss at some point. So don't throw your life savings on it. I don't know anything about it. Like, I don't know how this thing works, what its use case is, how many tokens are in supply. I don't know any of that info. Just looking at it technically, there's really not a lot to go on. If you can hold that lowest monthly close and keep closing monthly candles above that, I think you could be a buyer at support. Support is trying to come in. So it's in price discovery. It's supported by CZ. It's a competitor to Hype. So the Hyper Exchange, this is an exchange. Okay, so if it's an exchange and the exchange makes money, the free market will decide what its value is. Right now, like Hype, its current value at I think at above $30 or at $30 is a decent value with the tokenomics on Hype, the Hyperliquid exchange. So if Aster has really good tokenomics like that, do a little bit of background, see where they say is a good place to own it. But they have to make money. They will make money on fees and trading and transactions and things of that nature. But they have to be profitable. As long as they're profitable, they could continue to make money. I haven't even checked on Hype lately. Have they been getting crushed too? Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much close to value. They got crushed on that massive day. But that would have been a fantastic buying opportunity on Hype. I wish I would have been paying attention to this. I would have picked it up at $23, $24, even $25. I would have bought it. Yes. Because with the tokenomics, Hype in a bull market, and if just 2 short years, could reach $60 just based on how they make money, how they charge fees, and then they take a certain percentage of the fees and then reinvest into the token. So in theory, it's just like the stock share buyback. They're taking profits and buying back their own token. Therefore, long term could cause a pump. And there was one guy that did a breakdown on all that math and said, in theory, you could see it get up to $60. That's about where it's at break even, if it continues on the same path. So we would just have to look into Aster and find out where that value proposition is at. All right. Aster is a lotto. Well, if it's a lotto, then just buy a ticket. One. That's how I feel about the lotto. The lotto is a tax on the poor. Most people that play the lottery are poor and they don't realize it, but they're just paying a tax. It's a tax to the poor. Lottery is a tax. You do not make money playing the lottery. It's a money sucking pit. They let you win every now and then to make you feel like you're ahead, but you're never ahead. I do not play the lottery. I will occasionally buy a shit coin with a little bit of money, but Last time I did that was on World Token and I got stopped out. So there you go. Like, there was my lottery ticket. I liked the technicals. I didn't love the technical, but I liked what they're doing over there. And I do like this long term. I do think it could be worth money. And I like it under like right here where it is. If it ever gets back above 76 cents, I'll probably buy another $100 worth of it or something. You know what I mean? But while it's putting in fresh lows, I'm not getting involved because those lows can go forever. I need the lows to stop. Once the lows stop, then maybe I'll take a look at WorldCoin again. But I do think long term this will have a value proposition as well, based on its fundamentals and what it's designed to do. And Dan Ives thinks I haven't seen what he owns of WorldCoin yet, but this was because of Dan Ives. This massive spike was Dan Ives news. Dan Ives loves this thing long term. Dan Ives has a fantastic track record for calling great trades but long term. Not this year, next year, year after that. I'm talking 5-10 years down the road. This will probably be trading for way more money than it is right now. But while it's making fresh lows, you got to be careful. It can keep going. And there is no way to really assess value until the free market says, hey, this is value, because it stops going down. Then you want to be a buyer. All right. Stink bids for Link at 1160 in case we get hit again on selling towards the wicks. Link, I don't even think Link is on our watch list. Yeah, it is. There it is. At 1160. I think they're a little high. It doesn't look like Link participated in that massive dump. Well, it did, but it didn't dump 80% like Pingu did. Might be a good place to look. I mean, 11, you're way up above all these wicks. These two wicks. Yeah, could be a good place to buy. It's a long-term range. So your range is here. Long-term. Like huge long-term range. Short-term, you would just be looking at the quarter. You don't want to see last quarter's low go. Last quarter's low goes, then you could be in trouble here. Next target for downside would be $10. When I do a stink bid, I throw it in stinky. You know what I mean? Like real stinky. So I look at Link here. I see a swing high back in 2019. This swing high here at 480 would cause a cascade, probably give me about 50% off of that for any downside that you can't control. And my stink bid would be about 244. It's most likely never going to get filled, but if I'm going to do it, that's the way I would do it, because you're looking to get filled on a nasty downside break wick. Like what happened to Pingu. This is what you want to get filled in. You got to be careful that you don't get filled up here on a stink bid. Right? Because you still ended up losing 66% of your money. I'm trying to anticipate what this could do when putting in a stink bid. I don't really put those in anymore, but you can kind of see what it did, right? Longer term support in here, and then it dropped another 27% below that. That's a little bit more of a longer term wick, but on Link you got an even bigger level. You got a level all the way going back to date 2019. What would 80% off just this quarter's high be? 538. 85% down to 4. 89 down into the 3s. Okay, so yeah, that's the way I would do one. But you're looking like for a nasty dump. All right, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I got to get something to eat and call the AC guy. It's getting toasty in here. Make sure you guys trade safe. Make sure you guys trade smart. And as always, happy trading.